Assistive technology has a massive problem. Fewer disabled people are getting access to this technology, fewer people are being able to use good technology, and this is only going to get worse in the coming years. So here are the 5 things that I think are really wrong. Here's how to address them, and here's what you can do to help fix these. So the first reason and the root of all of this lies in the economic problem in terms of disability. See, there are over 1 billion disabled people in the world, according to the World Health Organization. And that's 15% of our entire population. Now that's already dire enough. Consider then that around 80% of these people, basically around 800 million people, are living in poverty or in low to middle income countries. So you've got this massive barrier or this massive divide between two groups of people. One, the minority, who have a lot of money and a lot of spare disposable income. And the second, the majority, who are living just paycheck to paycheck or even worse than that. That makes getting assistive technology much harder. It also makes every penny that they spend much more important, because suddenly that every penny is very, very valuable and it comes very hard. In fact, it's so bad that only around 3% of people in low to middle income countries have access to assistive technology. Now, let me be very clear here. This is not assistive technology that's a novelty. This is very basic, very important things. Hearing aids for hearing impaired people, wheelchairs for motor disabled people, and canes for visually impaired people. These things are required for day-to-day operations. And that leads me on to reason 2, which is the lack of innovation. Now here's what I mean. Consider a lot of the other tech markets, the phone market, the computer market. What ends up happening after a bit is that a lot of the innovations, such as AMOLED displays on phones, or better processors, multi-threading on computers, or better cameras on phones, these things eventually start moving down in price. After a few years of them being introduced, you'll see them on much more budget offerings and they become much more accessible. However, if you look at the assistive technology market, the things that were expensive around 20 years ago are still expensive to this day. Let's look at the braille display market, for example. These things used to cost around $40,000 for the best ones in 2002, the Seeker ones. And today, in 2024, they're basically the same price, granted from a different company, but you get the idea, right? You're not lowering down in price, therefore this massive pool of people who has no access to assistive technology because there's no offering in their price bracket or their income bracket. These people cannot spend the massive amounts required. Now you may be saying, Phoenix, there are cheaper products, and yes there are, but let me be very clear. When you use one of these, you definitely know. It's not a case of, for example, with phones, you cannot exactly feel the difference at the surface level. You can feel the difference very clearly. You're not made to be a priority customer. For example, look at talking watches. These things actually, in the cheaper models, have a famous defect of resetting in terms of time every time they fall, which would mean that they would reset every single day for me because I fall a lot.
Julian.
This essentially makes them almost unusable for visually impaired people if they hit their arm around or anything, because trying to reset the time when you cannot see the time, trust me, is really hard. You basically cannot do it without anyone else's help or any other technology. But how? I mean, consider these companies, they've got a lot of freely available data. So why do they not target these lower budget markets? Well, it all comes down to the fact that their costs for production are too high. And that's reason number 3. See, normally cost for production includes things like engineering, research and development, and so on and so forth. The problem here is that a lot of these companies end up building solutions from the ground up. Solutions that actually don't need to be built from the ground up. Consider like the smart glasses market. These are basically glasses with a camera on the side that connect to your phone and do things like character recognition, they read text out, they describe images, so on and so forth. The problem is most of these companies just build their own engines for each of these. They build their own character recognition engines, they build their own engines to describe images, and so on and so forth. All of these have a cost associated to them, and that cost gets passed on to the consumer. That's why these glasses are very, very expensive. But the other spin-off problem of this is that because they're over-engineering these solutions from the ground up, they're often just not that good. These solutions require a cable in most scenarios, and they're not very accurate. They would generally be more accurate if they were just leveraging other solutions that were dedicated to this task. Also, because they're over-engineering all the software, the hardware on these things is not so good, even for the price. So what ends up happening is that you pay a lot of money whilst getting a lower value. And these companies have to charge this because they're incurring such a big cost to create these products. The main cause for this over-engineering is actually reason number 4, and that's not including disabled people in the creation process. Let me take you back to last year, where I reviewed a certain smart wallet. If you want to watch that video, by the way, it's coming up on screen now. Basically, this wallet was a glorified cash reader for around $40 to $50, depending on conversion rates now. And it was way too expensive for then, and it's way too expensive for now. And basically, one of the main reasons for this was that almost no visually impaired person was actually included in the creation process. People only got to know about this wallet once it was released to market, and maybe 1 or 2 people before then. Now consider the alternative, when actually the inputs of visually impaired people or disabled people were actually considered in the creation process. Let me take you back again to another video that I made last year about Be My AI, which is basically a service that used AI to describe images and almost answer anything about an image.
Nice sunglasses. They definitely add a cool factor.
Oh, thank you. What is in front of me at the moment?
You're looking at a beautiful sunny day by the River Thames in London. Right in front of you is the Tower Bridge, one of the most famous bridges in the world, with its majestic twin towers and blue suspension cables.
That's perfect. Can you tell me if the bridge is up or down at the moment?
The bridge is down at the moment. So
As the AI is speaking, my mind is building a visual image.
It's been game-changing in today's day and age. And I can safely say that one of the reasons for that is that Be My Eyes, the company behind this whole thing, had almost 6 to 8 months of dedicated closed-doors testing with visually impaired people. And that testing was very important because it tailored their descriptions, it tailored the model to be able to give the perfect descriptions. And you can actually watch in my video just how well it did. The inputs of these users need to come in, because if they're not, what's happening is products are again being too overpriced, because these companies don't realize just how dire some conditions are and how cheap they need to make their products. And they're not realizing what features are and aren't important. Another example of this was a certain pair of smart glasses. I can't mention the name because of NDAs, but basically these glasses had a self-voicing system. I realized though that this was the case because they hadn't had much input from visually impaired people. And had they had this input, they would have realized that visually impaired people don't really need a self-voicing system and would much rather have a system that uses screen reader on their phone. And I guess the final nail in the coffin for assistive technology is the lack of some sort of an ecosystem or interdependent web of information. A lot of these companies are spread very thin, with very less communication online. If you actually search up and look at these companies' social profiles, you'll see barely any growth. And the reason for that is that they just don't try to market online. Also, what ends up happening is that it's very hard to get these products as users because they're not available often through the common distribution channels, only being given through organizations or relief aids. And what ends up happening because of this is that there's a lot of lack of information. A lot of these companies just don't get access to integratable modules or solutions that they can use instead of over-engineering. And in return, users just don't get access to the really good assistive technology out there. They might just pick up some random product and they cannot really do their research on the good assistive technology because there's not enough reviews available. And by the way, if you do want some of these reviews, get subscribed because I will be working on making some of them available to you. Okay, so these are the problems, but can they be fixed? And honestly, I think they can. If we just try to build an open source free network of information and try to invest in the right products. Users need to know which products to buy, and producers need to be able to make products at cheaper prices. For that, they need, well, A, the right investment, but more importantly, B, some help. We need to make an interdependent network of assistive technology. It's actually happening as we speak. Be My Eyes has recently collaborated with Meta to bring their Be My Eyes service onto Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
A woman puts on a pair of Ray-Ban Meta glasses. She grins. The glasses have a sleek black frame and an integrated camera. Getting ready to party.
Hi, I was was wondering if you could just give me a spot check to see if I missed anything.
Yes, I'm taking a look. You look amazing. It looks perfect.
Oh, thank you so much.
These glasses are actually way cheaper than a lot of the other assistive technology glasses made out there. And they're way more effective because they have better cameras, are completely wireless, and don't need a phone at all times. We just need more of this innovation. And that's where you come in as users. We need you to share as much information about assistive technology from your experience as possible. What works? What doesn't work? What's too expensive? What's too cheap? What would you like in assistive technology? See, as YouTubers, as content creators, we can do only so much. We're trying our best, but there's only so much information we can cover and such a big audience that we can reach. As a visually impaired person, I can only cover a certain set of categories, 2, maybe 3 categories of assistive technology. But in all honesty, I don't know enough about motor disability. I don't know enough about the hearing impairment area to be able to cover those aspects of assistive technology. So we need you to be as vocal as you can, as vocal as you feel comfortable, because once you are, other companies will take notice and start reacting to that. That's the only way that I honestly see what I did there? A way to fix the problems that we have with assistive technology. Anyway, that's been quite a bit of a rant. I hope it's been helpful to you, and I hope you've understood where we are and what we need to do as a community to be able to save our assistive technology and to make a future that's truly accessible. Because to be very honest, accessibility is only really achieved when every single person is able to access information and assistive technology to be able to do what they need effectively. What are the other problems you have faced with assistive technology, and what would you like to see? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this useful, do press the like button and hit the subscribe one as well. That's it for now. Stay safe, enjoy, have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.